Hello once again. Today I'd like to speak briefly about the financial lessons that I've learned before, and I think that I would really stick to during this time, the experience that I've had since the redundancy and since the effects of COVID-19. So I'll be brief, but I'll go straight to the point. Normally we are told it's important to budget. So for me, normally what I do and what I've always done is I normally tithe. As a Christian, I'm expected to tithe. And I normally do my tithe before doing anything else. So someone might also ask or challenge that some of these tithes you give and maybe they go to the wrong things. Some pastors just use them the wrong way. But I'd like to tell you something. That's a requirement from the Bible, and it's not up to you to decide how it's going to be used. Let God deal with this person alone. Do your part, do your tithe. It's for God to see. In fact, when you tithe, you don't have to go and talk about it out there. Every month when you pay your tithe, just do your tithe and let God do the rest. And we are normally told 10% of your whatever you receive. So there's no other way about it. It's in the Bible, and that's the manual. Go and look for it. Tithe. So one thing that I normally do, at least I tithe. The second thing that I'd like to say that I've always had a lot that we are advised by financial guys to do is the first thing you should do when you receive your salary. Now this would be the second thing for me, is pay yourself. Someone might wonder, how do I pay myself? Paying yourself means putting some savings aside. One thing I've discovered in life, there are people who will always be there to ask you for help. Yes, it's okay to help people. It's okay, some of these people have really genuine reasons. But another thing that I've discovered, there's some people in life who will always know you'll always be there for them. So they will always know if I need something, they know where to fall to. And that is you. So be careful, not these kinds of people. If you don't take care, they will always know, as long as I go and complain and cry to this person, they will always give me. So try as much as you can and pay yourself. Before looking at any other person, pay yourself. This means put something aside. It could be in a circle. It could be through buying shares. It could be through money market. It could be through some sort of retirement benefit or savings. But try to pay yourself. And we are normally told, do 10%, which might not be possible depending on your budget. But if you can get to a place where you discipline yourself to do 10% of your total income to go to your savings, that will really help. So I can tell you one thing, that if I were to go back to earning consistently again, I think that is one thing that I would do. Before doing anything else, I would tithe and pay myself. Then whatever remains now is what I would use on my budget. That brings me to my third point. Write down a budget. If you do not write down a budget, you'll spend money carelessly. You'll have things like impulse buying. You'll do things that you never planned because you'll feel like you have money. The most important thing when you write your budget, write down a budget. This I learned from training that I went to called Peak Performance by a gentleman called Gitao, and he was really a good trainer. I did not stick to everything I was taught there, but at least I would say I tried to do majority of the things that we were taught, and one of those things was write down a budget. So in my budget, normally if you look at the way I write my budget, I normally start with tithing, then I do my rent, and everything else follows. So like I said, if things were to reverse, I would do tithe, pay myself, maybe savings, and then do the rest later. Because most of the times, most people say, what you do everything else, then whatever remains is what you save. Trust me, it's very difficult to have something remaining if it's the last thing. So learn to live, don't live beyond your means, live within your budget. And within your budget means after putting your tithe, after saving or paying yourself, what remains is that's what you're able to live by. Don't live by beyond that. Don't care about the lifestyle others are living or influencing you to live. as long as you know at the end of the month, you're the one who knows where it hurts in terms of where the shoe pinches. It's your pocket. You're the one who knows where you get the money. Please live within your means. So I would say avoid impulse buying. When you write down a budget, it will really assist you to stick to that budget. Write the budget and stick to it. Tithe, pay yourself, write down a budget. Do now the most important things, like education, like rent, food, maybe your healthcare and such stuff. Take care of yourself. Another thing that I'd like to call like something that I would do, or something that I would stick to, is, since this redundancy thing, one thing that I've learned to do nowadays that I notice when I enter like a supermarket, I normally notice things on promotion. Initially, I never really even used to think about that. But nowadays, when I go to a supermarket and I see something on promotion, majority of the times I will try and buy depending on the promotion. I guess sometimes it also comes because of your need. When you have no need of thinking about it, there are some things you only learn because now you've had a certain experience. So it has taught you to do things differently. And for me, what I'd say nowadays I do differently is when I go for my shopping, I make sure that I look for things on promotion. That way, I'll have extra. Sometimes you find buy one, get one extra. That will mean it will have saved me the following month. Now I won't have it on my budget. So my budget will have reduced and it will push me for some time. The other thing that I also do, this is not to discourage maybe people who are now who are selling groceries in the estates, and maybe to discourage you, but I'd like to say, for me nowadays, because I have time, I go and buy things in it's called like kind of a retail price. So for my food, I don't buy little by little. Because I have the fridge, I can be able to buy lots of vegetables, blanch them, not really cook them completely. You can blanch and store in the fridge instead of every day going to buy things bit by bit. Because trust me, when they come to the estate, it's more expensive. But when you go and buy in bulk, maybe things like tomatoes, onions, you buy things like vegetables, especially the vegetable stuff, you can buy, just sacrifice, get time, prepare them and store them, and this will really help you. It's also a good thing for people who are busy. Even if you don't have time but you're busy. If you kind of set time aside to go and buy stuff and cook once, it can take you like 2 weeks or 3 weeks without having to go to the market daily. So all you'll be doing is maybe just, you've boiled, maybe if it's cereals, you boil, put in the fridge. You know, it will really save a lot of time, and it will save you a lot of also money because you'll have bought in bulk. Another thing that maybe, like I've spoken before, is try and learn the kind of people who ask you for help. If you don't have money, you don't. So don't force it. Sometimes I find that in life you really sometimes deny yourself to help somebody who will never even notice or never appreciate. Someone asked you for something, sometimes you didn't even have. You say, okay, let me borrow, then I'll pay back and sort this person. Most of these people will not even remember you during your difficult times. They won't even send you a text. They will not even think about you. So, one thing I'd like to say, don't deny yourself so much for other people, because at the end of the day, not everyone will even remember you. And I'm not saying it's not good to help. Help people, but again, wait. How many times has this person fallen back on me to help them? This time they come with this excuse, next time they'll come with another one. And maybe they're the kind of people you try even to ask to apply for a job somewhere, they refuse. You try to advise them to see if they will change and follow a certain direction and stop doing what they are doing so that they can get themselves out of a situation. They don't listen. But when they're financially, they need help, they'll always come to you because they know you'll always help. So I'd like to say, also if you have such kind of people, they will always come because they know, when I don't have so and so will always be there for me. So if you make them get used to it, you're the one who will lose in the long run. Yes, there's to an extent you can help, but kindly try to weigh and ask yourself, How many times have I helped this person? Some of them even tell you they will return. They never return. They think you forget. Just because time has passed. Trust me, people never forget. People never forget. If I gave you money and you never returned, even if it's 2 years, I'll always remember there's a time I gave you some money and you never returned. You think that I've forgotten. Just because I'm quiet doesn't mean I've forgotten. I've just kind of blacklisted you and noted you are the kind of person who never returns. So that is one thing I'd like to say it's important to be careful about. Also, don't deny yourself. A lot of times you find you sacrifice yourself sometimes for other people, or you sacrifice yourself for other things. One thing I'd say, I would kind of try, I think I'm that kind of person. I don't know whether I am, but I kind of feel like in a certain percentage I am. So try so much also to balance your life. Don't deny yourself too much because you're trying to save. Yes, after you've saved your 10%, the rest, try and also do other things. Balance. But if you have extra, you can even save more than that 10%. But one thing I'd like to tell you, one very big important thing that I was told, but this I was told a bit late in life, is that when you start working, please start saving for your retirement. Start planning for your retirement. How many people wait for their retirement money? That is the money now they want to use to go and build a home where they're retiring to. How many people plan with their children? They tell themselves, let me educate my children so that they can take care of me in old age. That is a wrong mentality. I'd say yes, there's a generation that still thought like that, and they never knew how to do it in a better way. But now that you know, we are told, people do if you don't have an information, somebody cannot blame you. But now that you know, please work smart. Don't expect your children to take care of you after retirement. So as you plan for your retirement. That is one of the best lessons I've ever had, but I had it too late. And I'd like to tell, if you're a young person listening to me and observing my video, kindly immediately start working. Don't think like that you have forever. In fact, if you start when you are very young, it's easy to save very little rather than starting when you're in your older age, in your 30s and 40s. Because by that time, for you to attain your goal or your target of owning a home or doing something, you really have to save in bulk. But if you start in your 20s, if your target is 5 million or 3 million, the same at first turn of 40 or 30 years, the amount you'll need to save by the time you're retiring is not the same. You'll save little by little to attain that goal, while someone else will have to save in bulk because they've already wasted a lot of time. And don't worry, if you've wasted time, that's a lesson for you. You'll use it to teach other people, your kids and other people around you. Just appreciate and start from where you are. Never regret where you are. Everything is a lesson. Learn from it. I'd like to say there are different kinds of ways that you can save, and I've already spoken about them. But try and find the one that suits you. Don't do something because someone else is doing. Don't put all your eggs again in one basket. Do due diligence, investigate, find out. Don't rush to things that really tell you like the way you'll earn money very fast. Majority of those things are scam. You know, when you earn something slowly through your sweat, you appreciate it more. Even the way you spend, you don't spend just like any person who's received jackpot somewhere. Because this money, the sweat you put into it, the time you put into it, you know, the way you looked at that, the time you observed things growing slowly by slowly, it will help you appreciate. When you look at someone who has earned their money the hard way, through their sweat, sometimes they wake up so early, they go to work, that work is so stressful, it's raining, you know, they are sick, but they are struggling to be there, they want to prove themselves. Those people, they really don't waste money. And they don't spend carelessly. But someone who just got money anyhowly, someone just dumped some amount in your account, someone just offered you, someone just bought you a car, the way you value it is very different. So I'd like to say it's sweet to own something and to earn something through your sweat. And again, God has given us strength. God has given you the ability to think and work hard. So if you waste it, He might take it away. So appreciate to God by showing you can work hard, you are not lazy, and you can do something. And always, if you think, you'll find something that can help you. Don't just give up. Try somewhere. So I'd like also to say, be the kind of person who is accountable. Write